Good evening everyone, welcome back to my channel, True Crime with Jess. Can I just say, if you do see me looking like I'm fiddling with something, it's because my laptop keeps crashing and I don't know why. So if you see me looking at something, it's because it's flashing up messages at me. So hopefully it won't happen again. Thank you for joining me again. Just a quickie, in my last video, which was the crossbow cannibal, Stephen Griffiths, I said obviously there was a similarity between him and Peter Sutcliffe, which there was, but I called Peter Sutcliffe the Suffolk Strangler. I don't think he'd take that too well because he's actually the Yorkshire Ripper. That was his nickname. The Suffolk Strangler was actually Steve Wright. So I'm just hoping he never sees that, because I presume they take their nicknames. They're very proud of those. So yes, the Yorkshire Ripper was Peter Sutcliffe. I do know that. I don't know where the Suffolk Strangler came into play. I haven't done either story, so I apologise for that. And I am aware I did it. And yeah, thank you for coming back. Tonight's story, as I've written on the front of the video, it is distressing. It is very sad, really sad. It's the case of Breck Bednar. Now, Breck Bednar was born on March 17, 1999, to Lauren Lefebvre and her husband, and they'd wanted children for such a long time. And when he came, he was just the apple of their eye. She took him to swimming classes, she took him to parenting classes. He was doted upon. And when Breck was 2, they were lucky enough to have triplets. So he was now the eldest of 4, and they, lovely family. And he doted on his younger brothers and sister. He was very studious. He loved learning. He was very confident. He was just such a happy little boy. And in May 2007, though, his parents did break up when he was 8. But Lauren Lefebvre, his mum, is on the show, so she does tell a lot of the story. The show's Britain's Darkest Taboos. I'm not sure if I said that. And she says that they moved to Surrey, but he did see his dad a lot. So I think it was, an amicable breakup. And, Brett was just thriving. He was doing really, really well. And as he got into his teenage years, and he was 13, she wanted to give him a bit more freedom. But the freedom we had as teenagers, which was going out and meeting our friends, we can't really do that now. We're not in that era anymore. So the way of doing that now is online, whether it be social media or a gaming world, or, that's how kids today do keep in touch with their friends. And, that's it's an online life. That's how it is now. And Breck was no different. In fact, he was very, very clever. And she said he had a whole setup. He had 3 monitors in his bedroom, which was one for his studying, one for his gaming, and one, I think, for social media. And he had all this set up, but it was very open. Lauren wasn't stupid. She was very onto online predators, and, she was very aware of how it could go wrong. So the bedroom door was always open. She would always go in and see who he was talking to. And when she'd walk in, his friends would say hello to her, so she'd hear who he was online to, or they'd pull up little pictures that you could do of his mum if she'd been out dancing. She said they put up a dancing woman. It was all very open. He was very trustworthy. She gave him that trust and freedom, and it worked really well until one day she happened to hear a different voice, and it was an older voice. Now, these are all 13-year-old boys, and she recognised this an older voice. And when she asked Breck who it is, he says, "Oh, that's Lewis." And the way he said it, obviously they've been talking for a while. And Lewis, and she finds out it's a lad called Lewis Daines, who's 17. And all the lads are completely in awe of him, Breck and all his friends, because Lewis is apparently a CEO of his own multi-million-pound IT firm. He he does undercover things for the FBI. He lives in New York, and Lauren's American. You hear it on the show, and straight away she doesn't work out the time zones as being right. He's always online, considering he's so busy. So she doesn't buy it at all. But the lads are 13, Breck and his friends, they're 13. Of course they're gonna, you know, it was so unbelievable. To them it was believable, you know, and like I say, they were completely in awe of him. And Breck's spending a lot more time online, and what she's noticing is she's hearing Lewis a lot more, and he seems to be controlling the whole gaming group now. He's kind of took over, and she's getting more and more worried. She's getting more and more worried because originally when she come into the room, like I say, the lads would say hello, or, you know, even Lewis, he'd say, hello, Breck's mum, or I think he knew her name was Lauren eventually. But he wasn't doing that now. When she come into the room, she was noticing little icons on the screen of a witch. You know, just not very nice things. And she noticing a change in Breck. You know, it's like he's struggling when she comes in. Because when she comes into the bedroom, it's for things like, you know, come on, it's time to come offline, or, you know, come and have your dinner. You know, I need you to do this. And she was getting the feeling that in his ear, he was being told, you don't have to do that. You're your own man. What are you doing? And Emma Kenny, who's a psychologist on Britain's Darkest Blues, who I think is fab. I think she's amazing. Much like Kerry Danes, you know, on Faking It Is the Crime. I think these women are amazing. There hasn't been one show where I've disagreed with anything they've said. They're really, really good. And she said that Lauren did everything right, everything that a mum could do when her son's online. You know, it was very open. She was trusting. He was trusting. He'd tell her what she was doing, and she noticed things were changing. And then McKenny said it was kind of like Breck had a devil on his shoulder in one way, because Lewis was in his ear, and, you know, she's struggling now, Lauren. She wants to give him this freedom, but at the same time, she's a bit worried about this lad. You know, she's not buying who he said he is. He's starting to be rude to her, and she starts to think that Breck's being groomed. She does. She openly thinks he's being groomed. So with his changing attitude and the fact that she thinks she knows where this change is coming from, she confiscates all his devices. She confiscates them all a week before Christmas. She takes all his computers, takes them, his phone, everything, explains to him why. And he sounds like he's really mature. I mean, at this point, he's 14, and he sounds like he's a really mature boy, because he didn't throw his toys out of his pram, or you would imagine a teenager did. She said he understood. She said he understood why she was doing it. And, you know, not only did she do that, though, she went further and she phoned the police. And she says, I suspect my son's being groomed online. The lad's name's Louis Daines. He's a lot older than my son. I'm not feeling good about this. Could you look into it and obviously let me know if he's got a record, or, you know, any concerns about him? I need to know who my son's talking to. And they told her the word. They told her they'd come back to her. So, like I say, she's took all his equipment. She's phoned the police. She's on it. This mum is on it. She's, you know, and they don't come back to her. And what they don't tell her is Louis Daines is actually on record for raping a young boy in 2011. And, I mean, Louis Daines would have been young himself. So this lad's obviously not right from a very, very young age. But the charges were discontinued. It was on record, but no one come back to her. No one told her. In her eyes, she's done, you know, what she needed to do. She's got that with the police. You know, she's took all his everything. And they have a really nice Christmas that year. They have a lovely Christmas in 2013. You know, there's no online, there's nothing. He becomes part of the family again. He hasn't got someone in his ear telling him what he can and can't do. You know, he's doing well. He's doing really, really well. And she starts to relax a little bit. So on Boxing Day 2013, it's a week later, she gives him his stuff back. You know, they've got a really close relationship, and she feels she's made a point. You know, let's stay away from Lewis. He's obviously no good for you. Don't believe all this stuff he's saying, you know. And she believes Lewis is gone. She doesn't hear him talk again. And she believes that's it. But it's not. Lewis is still in touch with Breck. And I think it was all private emails now. He was still in touch with him. You know, still kind of, you know, trying to control him as a groomer would. And yeah, he was never got rid of. He was in the background. But on February the 7th, 2014, Breck, who's obviously 14 now, as I said, he goes on an exchange trip to Spain. Now, don't forget, Lauren thinks Lewis has gone, you know, so life's back to normal. He's going on this exchange trip. He's really excited. He's really excited about it. And he messages her when he gets back. And he says, you know, I'm back. I've got so much to tell you. But she doesn't see him straight away, because that's the weekend he sees his dad. So when he comes back from Spain, he goes straight to his dad's. And that would be February the 14th. But he talks to his dad and asks, can he go to his friends? And this is on February the 16th, 2014. And his dad agrees. Like I said, Breck's a very trustworthy boy. And I don't think his dad knew about Lewis. So he wasn't aware to kind of maybe look into it a bit more, you know, phone the parents, see if that's where Breck was going. So he lets him go. And on the morning, 7 o'clock, February the 16th, 2014, Breck gets a taxi. And he gets a taxi to Lewis Dane's house. How can you get a taxi to New York? You can't, because he's actually living in Essex in a one-bedroom flat. So Breck goes there, and his dad gets a text message from him that evening, just saying, oh, I'm updating my computer equipment and stuff, you know, doing what he loved. He got that from his dad. And then his phone goes dead, and his dad can't get in contact with him anymore. He doesn't hear from Breck, and he can't get in contact with him. So he phones Lauren. He says, look, I can't get in contact with Breck. There's something going on. So of course Lauren, she hasn't seen him in over a week. You know, he's been to Spain, he's gone to his dad. She hasn't seen him, and now she hasn't heard from him. So she panics and starts phoning all his friends, you know, phone around, see if she knows where he's gone. And eventually one of the friends says, he's gone to see Lewis. Now, don't forget, she thinks Lewis is gone. She thinks she's done what she needed to do, and this lad's gone. You know, I don't think anyone realised just how involved he was in Breck's life. So she finds out he was at Breck's, but the next day she says she receives the hardest call she's ever had in her life. It's Breck's dad again, and it's to tell her that Breck's dead. Just like that, he's dead. And it was February the 18th, so it's 2 days after. And his body was found at Lewis Dane's flat in Essex. He's been beaten, he's been abused, and he's been stabbed. He's been tied up. It's a 14-year-old boy, trusting, so much to live for, so intelligent. He thought he had a friend. He thought he had a mentor. He thought it was someone he could trust. And he's dead. And how they found out, Lewis Danes phoned the police himself. And on the show, Britain's Darkest Taboos, you hear the phone call. You hear his phone call to the police. And when the operator answers, he says, I need the police and a forensics team. And the operator's, you know, Roy. And he even tries to control her. You hear him say, right, I need you not to talk now. I need you to listen to me. And she's like, Roy. And he basically says that him and his friend had an altercation and it's gone wrong, and that he stabbed him in the neck. And when Breck turned round, they carried on fighting and he cut his throat. Just like that. That's how he says it. Just so cold and matter of fact, and like he's talking about, I don't know, I lost my foot. I don't know, it's hard to explain how flippant this conversation sounded. Honestly, he wasn't stressed, he wasn't trying to come across upset. It was all very cold and methodical, and, you know, he actually says, you know, we had this fight and I'm the one who got out alive. So when they go round, the police go round, he actually says to the controller, well, I think he hears the sirens, like, right, I'm going now. Like, no, stay on the line. He controls everything to the last, to the police come. You know, and when the police come, he says it's self-defence. That's what he's going on. He's got this young 14-year-old boy dead in his flat. Lewis is 18, don't forget. You do see a picture of him. And I'll be honest, good-looking lad, can I say? You only see like up to here, but he doesn't look big. He looks quite small, really. I need to see the whole thing, but you only ever see to here, so I'm not too sure. But yeah, just not someone you can see why Breck wasn't intimidated by him. If I can say that although he was 18 and obviously older, and talk or whatever, physically he wouldn't have been intimidating. I don't think it wouldn't have been scary for him to go around there. That's the impression I get. But so Lewis is arrested and charged with murder, you know, and it's a real upsetting part of the show, because Lauren says she goes to visit Breck and it just looks like he's sleeping, and she apologises to him, you know, and when she's talking about it, she gets so upset, as you can imagine. You know, it's only 5 years ago. It's not a long time has passed, and I don't even think it was that long ago on, you know, when the show was recorded. So it's just, you can't imagine this woman's absolute devastation, you know. So while she's doing that, obviously the police are doing their investigation and trying to work out Breck's final hours, because Lewis won't tell anyone exactly what happened when he got there. He's still going with the, you know, we had a fight and it's self-defence. But the police found his hard drive, and what he did try to do, remember when I says that when the operator says they were coming, he says, oh, I've got to go, he soaked all his discs and his phone. He tried to get rid of everything. He tried to get rid of all evidence, but obviously not quick enough, because when they got there, you know, they found there was duct tape everywhere. Bedroom, bathroom, living room, kitchen, there was duct tape everywhere, because that was Breck. They think Breck was he was stabbed originally in the neck. They call it like like a warning stab kind of thing. Then he was tied up. There was another, well, the fatal stab wound to his neck, which would have killed him, but we don't know what you know, you don't know what the time frame is between the first stab and the last. He actually cut his clothes off. Does say he was abused, but because Lewis didn't speak and didn't, you know, he's never said exactly what happened in those 2 days. You know, they're having to try and guess what had gone on. They know he was definitely tied up. What he must have thought. He thought Lewis was his friend. He thought this lad was his friend. What it says that how they've tried to trace it, he got there obviously very early in the morning. They can tell when they ordered a pizza. You know, at 6:40 p.m, Breck sends the message I said to his dad saying he's upgrading his operating system. And that's when his phone goes dead. So they know between then and the phone call with Lewis is when all this happened. And oh, what would he have gone through? What would he have felt? It's just awful. And on the hard drive as well, this is how grown he was. On the hard drive, they found that when he was in Spain, like I say, Lewis was still in touch with him. He put up a photo on Facebook, Breck did, of him and another girl. And his mum said, you know, all it would have been, you know, like a little crush or something. She says, you know, Breck was quite shy. He was only 14. And it would have took a lot for him to put this photo up with this girl. So it must have been like a major crush for him, like a holiday crush. And there's messages from Lewis to Breck saying, take that down now. You know, people will think you've slept with her, and, you know, people are going to think bad of you. If you're going to, you know, if you're going to work with me, you can't be doing that. Basically, he forced him to take it down. And Emma Kenny says he would have felt he was losing control when Breck put that photo up. Obviously, with the mum taking his devices the week before as well, he's starting to feel he's losing control of Breck. And so how he actually got Breck round to his house was by saying he was dying. He said he was dying. And he wanted Breck to take over this multi-million-pound company for him. Just the lies to get this child round to his house. The lies. And what's so concerning is this is an 18-year-old. It's not a grown 40-year-old man in a dirty, dingy corner, you know, writing to kids. This was an 18-year-old, very unassuming looking lad. I mean, you just if you have a look at him, you wouldn't have seen that happening. You just wouldn't. It shows you just don't know. You don't know, no matter what you do for your kids. To have people out there that unassuming and that, you know, that you wouldn't have questioned, it's just so scary. And Emma Kenny does say that in those last hours, all Breck would have wanted was his mum. All he would have wanted was his mum. You know, it's just so upsetting. I did say it's quite distressing. It really is to think of this poor boy tied up with who he thought was a friend. I mean, the first stab was in the back of his neck, so he wouldn't have seen it coming. And then to be tied up after, when did he realise? When did he realise this was going back? Oh, it's just, you can't think about it. So Breck's body was kept while they were doing forensics and stuff, and it was actually released on March the 17th, 2014, which was a month after, and it was actually on his 15th birthday. His body was released and he had his funeral, and so he was buried at 15. It's just devastating. And his mum on the show, she says she's like a robot. She says that's all she is now, a robot. She's the only reason she's managing to keep going is because of the triplets. She's openly said it. That's the only reason she can keep functioning every single day, because of the triplets. She said, but she's a robot. You know, she's just going through the motions, and it'd just be awful. September the 12th, 2014, Lewis pleads not guilty in the Old Bailey. He has the audacity to plead not guilty. They've got all this proof of him grooming. You know, they've got his past of raping a boy, even though the charges were discontinued, it's on record. You know, but he tries to plead not guilty. It gets to November the 25th, 2014. He then pleads guilty. And it's said that in the dark, he just looked evil. He wasn't bothered. There's no remorse for what he did. There's no reason for what he did. He doesn't explain why or how or, you know, the circumstances of Breck's death. He wants to control that right to the end. He doesn't even give his mum that. Although, would you want to know? Oh, you would. you would, and he won't give her that. So in January 2015, he receives a life term with a minimum of 25 years. He'll only be 43. Now, this lad could do that at 18. That's what they're saying. 18, he did that. About 28, 38, when he gets out when he's 43. But Emma Kenny actually says he's completely beyond hell. She said, I don't know if she's met him or it's based on the story itself, but she says he's beyond hell. And, you've got to agree. What else can you say? This lad, you can't ever get out. He can't ever get out. Lauren Lefebvre, Breck's mum, though, it is really, it's really positive what she's tried to do in Breck's name, and she's actually started the Breck Foundation, which is, it's a charity which goes out to schools and speaks to parents and children about online predators and the dangers of online predators, and to be aware of even the most normal looking people online. Just, you've got to be so careful. And they've got a tagline in Breck's name, which is play virtual, live real. So she's not saying, she's not going out there on a crusade to ban all online activity. She's not doing that, which is, it'd be hard not to feel that way. It'd feel hard not to want to just stop all our online activity with children under 18 or anything else. But she's not doing that. But what she's explaining to the schools and to the parents, so it's okay to go online, it's okay to have friends online, but they are your online friends. You don't meet them, unless you know them, unless they're from school, but you don't meet them, you don't give out your details, you don't do any of that. You live real, so you go and see your real friends. You don't see your online. But it's a really good message what she puts across, and I admire the woman. I really do, and your heart just goes out to her. If you do watch it, it's Britain's Darkest Taboos, like I say, and it's such a distressing story. It really is, because it's the era we're in now. Everyone's online. Kids are online. Whether it be gaming or social media or whatever, and trying to watch who they're talking to. If I saw that lad, Lewis Downs, of course the age difference, just like Lauren, the age difference and, the controlling behaviour, of course it would, make you listen, make you think, hang on, something's not right. But appearance-wise, not at all. Have a look. I'll put it in the link. You wouldn't have looked twice at him. You really wouldn't. He was so unassuming. It just shows you just don't know. So, yeah, I will leave that tagline. It's the Breck Foundation, like I say, and it's such a good message to have, and it's play virtual, live real. It is such a good message to put across, and I do admire the woman so much, so much. So I told you it was a bit of a hard one. That's the story of Breck Bednar. Such an awful story, but I felt it had to. We're in that era now where everyone's online, everyone's kids are online, and you have to be aware. You have to be aware that these people are out there. These people, unassuming, young. It can be anybody. You've got to be careful. You've got to watch your kids. You've got to be careful yourself. It's adults as well being, brainwashed by people and thinking it's okay, and thinking they know somebody because they've spoke to them online, and you don't know them at all. So yes, that was my story of Breck Bednar. Thank you so much for joining me. I know it's a bit of a long one this evening, but yeah, thank you again. I really appreciate it. I will pop the link in the bottom, and if you've got any comments, please, I'd really appreciate them. And if you'd like to subscribe, I'd really appreciate that too. And I'll see you next time. Thank you again. Thank you so much. See you soon.